This tutorial will show you how to use the artistic media, which is this one here. But right now, as you notice there's a small video, I am working on a Wacom Bamboo. Now, even though I'm working on a Wacom Bamboo Tablet, it doesn't follow that you can't do this in a mouse. You can still do it, but it's better to use a Wacom tablet, especially when you were doing an artistic drawing like this. Now let's analyze this drawing here. I'm just going to zoom in here, and if you notice, the strokes are really realistic. Like, it really looks like it's a pencil or a marker, and but you have to realize that this is drawn in CorelDraw and it's not done in Photo Paint, and it's all vector based. So if I click on View, you go to Wireframe, you would notice that all of these are vector image, which is really good because since it's not a bitmap, even though you enlarge this like 1,000 times, it won't be pixelated. And you notice that it is transparency. If you go to View, Wireframe, it's still vector image. Now, this drawing here is, I didn't copy it from a photograph. It's just a random drawing, and it's practically a sketch. I think I did this within 5-minute sketch, and the coloring too. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to recreate this one, but we're going to start from scratch. But I'm going to use a new drawing. I'm going to create a new drawing because right now here, what I did here, I created layers for the drawing, and you notice here there are layers here, so you can't really use this document here. So anyway, so I'll click on New here, the new icon, and we're going to start from scratch. Now, when you're doing an artistic say drawing and coloring in CorelDraw, the first thing we have to remember is that we have to create layers so that you can control the lines, the shades, the highlights, and the shadows. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we'll create 4 layers for now. So to create layers, you go to Tools, and you click on Object Manager. So once you click on the Object Manager and you have a new document, there's a default first layer, which is layer 1. So if you want to, right now it's layer 1 in page 1. So you double click on layer, okay, and if you're using a Wacom, you just you click on the tablet. So I'll make these lines. Okay, so that's my first layer, lines. So what I'll do, I'll put all my lines into that layer. I'll click on this one here for new layer, and I'll name it Fill. Okay, so what I'm planning to do is I'm going to put all the coloring in this layer here, Fill, the base color. And I click on another layer. I'll put here the shade, okay, or the shadow, the darkest part of the drawing. So I'll make that shade, and then I'll click another one. I'll click on make it highlight, okay, the highlight of the drawing. And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers right now. Now we have 4 layers, and what I'm going to do is we're going to do the right order in the layers. So I'm planning to put the lines on the top layer. So if you want to put it on top layer, so you just click and drag it going up there. So that's the first one, is lines, because I want all the lines to be on top. Okay, the highlight, this highlight and shade, this is the right order, because the highlights and the shade should be underneath, and then the fill, the base color, would be the very bottom part of the layer, which is right. Now I also want to explain about this. These are very useful icons here. Okay, the first one is show properties. We really don't need the show properties, so we're okay with that. This one here, edit across layer, that is important. See, if I click on that, so it means to say it's active already. It means to say I can edit across the layers. Like I can edit fill, I can edit shade, even though the active layer is shade right now. So for example, in fill, I'm just going to put an object here, and it's in the fill layer, and then I'll click on shade. I'll make this in shade. So let's say this is the shade. Okay, if this one is activated, I can edit the layers. See, I can edit these two layers. Okay, but if I click on this one, okay, means to say I cannot edit. See, I cannot delete this object because I'm in the shade layer. So the only thing I will touch or I can edit is only in the shade layer. Okay, because we didn't click on this one. We didn't edit across layer. Anyway, I'm just gonna delete that. Okay, so I'm going to go to fill and delete this one too. Now we're all set. Now the next thing I'm going to explain is where will I get the brushes. Okay, so the Wacom tablet is a pressure sensitive. It has like 512 pressure points. So it means to say if I draw something, it would not be like one constant line. It would be, you know, thick and thin lines. Okay, so where would we get that brushes? Okay, so you click on this one here and you click on artistic media. So when you click on artistic media, okay, in the property bar here, you can choose these are the presets, the calligraphy pens, and then this one is the brushes. Okay, so when I click on that, you will have lots of brushes in here, and then the spray. Okay, this one. So what in this lesson we're going to use the brush. Okay, so when I click on brush, I can choose the brushes here. Okay, my favorite ones are this one here. That's the brush stroke. It's a brush stroke. So let's demonstrate that one. And this one is the width of the brush. Okay, what I do, I put it in the lowest one, which is 0.03 of an inch. And then let's start drawing here. Let's say I'm going to draw. This is a sample. And if you notice, it has like a thin and thick lines. See, if I go like this, thick and thin lines. Try to zoom in here. It really looks like it's a brush. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. Delete. Okay, so that's the kind of brush that we're going to use. It's this one here. Now I have to go to the lines layer. Okay, lines layer, because that's what I'm going to use. Okay, lines layer. So I'm going to zoom out here. So I'm going to start to draw the coffee cup. Okay, so I click on this one here, artistic media, and I chose this one, brush, in the brush stroke list. I like that brush stroke, and then what I did, I made the minimum thickness of the brush. Okay, so I'm going to draw my coffee cup. Okay, so this is it. Okay, now in a tablet, it's best if, especially you have a small area here, a small area of your tablet, it's best to zoom in. So I'm going to, this is my line. Since we're doing this in our artistic way, so we really don't worry about the you know, the if it's perfect or not. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay, so now let's put a shade here. Okay, so basically this is my basic drawing of a mug, coffee mug. Okay. Now if I want this to be all black, I want black lines actually, so I highlight everything, or Control A to select all, and then I'll make it black. There. So I've got a mug. Just going to minimize this. Okay, so that's the mug. So we're still going to develop that. I'm just gonna add one more here so that it could be close. I have to select this and make it black. Okay, so basically that's my mug. Now we're going to go to the fill layer. So I'm in fill layer, and notice when I'm in fill layer, I can't edit the lines layer because I click on this not to edit across layers. Okay. Now I'm going to the fill, and then let's say what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill this. It's like I'm coloring the mug. Okay, but since the fill is in the very bottom of the layer, of all the layers, so all the lines will show up because that's the very top part of the top layer. Okay, so what I usually use is I use the polyline. So you click on polyline, okay, and here in the options here in polyline, okay, this is the thickness of the points, so that's fine. Actually, you click on none. I think it's best if you click on none so that you don't need to delete to change the outline to none. Okay, I would suggest to click on this one, auto close curve, because what it does, so if I click on that, okay, so and then I'll start drawing, you notice that one, it's a close, it makes a close path, and click, and then I'm going to color it. Okay, I'm going to delete that. So that's the use of this auto close curve. Now I'm ready to do it. Another thing to here is you click on view and click on snap to objects. So what happens when you snap to objects, when I'm clicking on when I'm using the polyline and I'm going to see the object, so it snaps. So it's easier for me to draw, or to draw the very boundary of my fill, because it snaps to all the nodes. Okay, so I click here. Now I'm ready to do the fill. So I click there. So it's good because it snaps to every node. So I'm going to do this first, and there you go. So when you're done, you just double click. Okay, so tap 2 times in your Wacom pen, and then I'm just going to color this. So I'm coloring that one. Okay, I'll make it different color, a lighter color. Okay, and you notice the fill goes under the line. Okay, now I'm gonna zoom in here, and you see there's a little bit of imperfection here, so that's easy to edit. You go to your shape tool. Okay, since it's a curve, so you just move it, move the line, and there you go. Now I can do this part too. So I'm just going to go to my shape tool, click on the nodes here. we can edit that later on. Okay, so now I'm just going to do this part here. So I click on my polyline, okay, and then I'll just trace that. Okay, again, I'm in snap mode, in snap to objects mode, so it's easier that way because it snaps to the lines. And if I'm done, double click, and I'm going to color it there. Yeah, let's fix that later. Okay, so now I've got the fill, and I also have the lines. Now I'm going to go to the shade, so I click on shade, and so in shade I can create a polyline again. Okay, and then let's say I want to make this a shade there. Double click, and then I'm going to color that the same color. Okay, now you can't see the difference because it's the same color. You hold down Control and click on black here. Hold on Control and click on black here, and you notice it changes the shade. Okay, now let's do this part here. So now I click on polyline. Okay, I am still in my shade. So okay, let's say I'm gonna make a shade there and color it same color as the, or I can change it to a different color like that. I'll just make it the same with that, and I get to hold on Control and click on the black to make a shade. Okay, now I'm gonna make a coffee here, so I'll go to my fill again, polyline. I'm just going to make this one for my coffee. Double click. Okay, I'll click on this one here for my coffee, and if you want to edit some nodes there, you go this way. Okay, now I'm fine. Now seeing the shade here, so if I click on that, okay, I'll go back to my shade layer here. So I click on this. Okay, I can make it darker, so Control, hold on Control, and then click on it, and then I can use the transparency. So I click on transparency here, I click and drag, so you can see that I can create transparency. Okay. Now I'm going to add more here. Let's say I'm going to go to my polyline, and then I'm going to, again, since it's an illustration, it doesn't need to be perfect. Double click and click on the same color, and then hold on Control and go to your black. Okay, and if you want to edit some nodes, you can just edit it like that. Okay, now you can also put transparency in it. Click on transparency, click and drag, or okay, that looks good. Now I'm still gonna add more here. Okay, I'm gonna color it the same way here. I can make a different shade, and I go to my black, hold on Control, and then click on black. There. I can also do transparency. Click on that, transparency. Okay, it's really up to your creativity. Okay, now if I want to add more lines, so I go to my lines. Okay, go to my artistic media, and this is my lines. You can experiment too, like if you want to use this line. Let's say I'm going to use, let's say this one here. I'm just gonna test it here. Okay, So Control Z. That's not a really good line. Brush this one here, or this one here. We'll try that. Click on this one. That's okay. So I'm gonna use that to put some of my lines. So I'm gonna zoom in. Okay, click my artistic media, and I chose that. That's the smallest width. Okay, I'll make that black. Okay, so I can edit those. Let's say I want to put more here, and I'll make that black. Okay, so F4. So another technique too is you go back to your fill. So I click on fill. Okay, let's turn off the layers, the shade layer. So if you want to turn it off, like you don't want it to be visible, you just click on this icon here. Okay, that's my shade, that's my highlight. We haven't done the highlight yet, and this is my lines. Now this is my shade, right? Let's make the lines visible. Okay, so you click on this fill. I'm just gonna move it to show you how which fill I'm talking about. So that's the fill, right? You can, in your keyboard, plus sign in your keyboard, so it duplicates it, right? Duplicates the fill. Now you click on black. Of course, it's gonna be like that. But then you can add transparency by clicking on transparency, and you click and drag. Let's say you want the, okay, so you want a little bit of shadow in there. Yeah. Now this one too, you click on this, you can plus sign in your keyboard, okay, and then make it black, and then you can go transparency and click and drag. Just to show some shadows there. Okay, then I click on my shade to make it visible and fill. Now hit F3. Now let's work on the outline, the highlights here. So I go to my highlights, okay, and again I'm going to zoom in here, and then I'm going to use the same brush that I used. So I click on artistic media, same brush, which is this one here, and then I'm just going to style. It really depends upon your style, okay, but I'll make it white. See, now I'm going to make that, let's see, white. It's going to make that white too. Here, just going to make that white, just to make the drawing more interesting. Gonna put some highlights there and there, and then later on we're going to put some there. Okay, so we've done a cup. Now sometimes you want to edit, like for example here you want to edit, and you know that one is in the fill layer, so you go to your fill, okay, so you click on this one and you click on your shape tool, and you just move that there. Okay, on the wrong. So that's the one. I'm going to edit this node there. Okay, so F4, F3. Now I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit. Oops, Control Z. I have to click on this edit across layer so that I can move the other objects too. And I'll put it back again. Okay. Now I'm going to make the background, so it's in the fill. It's in the fill layer, so I go to my polyline again. So I'm going to create. Okay, we're going to fix that later. Double click. I'll make a, okay, want that. I'm going to create, let's say, baby blue, and then I am going to, okay, since that's a fill, I'm going to go to arrange, order to back of page. There. Now I can do transparency. Click on my transparency, click and drag, or click and drag going this way. So it's really up to your creativity. Okay, 3 F4. Now for the bottom part, I go to my polyline, click here, there, double click, and I'm going to, let's say that one, and arrange, order to back of page. And again, transparency, click and drag. Okay, so that's F4. Now I can put some shadows too. I'm still in my fill layer, so I'll just make a shadow from here. There, double click, and first I'll make it black, and then I'm just going to make a transparency, click on transparency, and click and drag, or click and drag this way. And of course you can move this with your Bezier tool. Double click. There. I mean, it's an illustration. So you go to your lines. Say I want to add more lines here, just to make a shadow here. Oops. Escape. I have to go to my artistic media and use that one. So I can, there, it's a shadow, and I can color that gray if I want to, or black. Maybe black is fine. Okay. So now I have created a simple artistic drawing. Okay, so I also want to show you how to use the eraser tool too. If you look at this part here, it's you know, it's over, it's, I have to erase that one. So okay, so you go to your fill, which is this one here, and then you have to choose that. Okay, so I think that's the one. So you have to select the object first, and then you go to the eraser tool, which is in here, eraser. So you click on the eraser, and then you can change the diameter of the eraser, and then you can just click there. Okay, so make sure you're choosing the right object. So that's the right object now. And make this smaller still. There. Control Z to make it smaller. There, that's better. And then you can, there. So you notice it erases it. Okay, what else here? Let's say here, I'm going to go to my eraser, and then Control Z. It's smaller a bit. There. F4. So, oh, before that, I'm just going to show you also the advantage of this artistic media. So I hit F3 here. Let's say, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this edit across layers, because I want to edit across layers. So I'm going to highlight this whole thing, and then plus sign in your keyboard. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to move it to the right side here. Okay, there. Now I've got these two objects now. I'm going back to edit across layers so that only the active layer will be edited, and the others will be locked. Now I go to my lines. Let's say the lines is going to highlight all my lines, and then let's say I want to change the style of the lines. Let's go to artistic media here, and then let's say I want to make it thicker because this one is thin, right? So now I'm just going to click on this arrow here to make it thicker, and notice here the lines will be thicker. Okay, there. And then you can create a different effects from the artistic media. That's actually a really good thing because you can analyze which one's the best. Now, the last thing we have to do is we're going to put some, like smoke here that says that's a hot coffee. So, go to my artistic media, okay, and then I make sure that I'm in. Let's go to maybe the layer highlight. So click on the highlight layer, and then I'm going to create and make it white. And I click on this plus sign in your keyboard. I'm gonna make it black. I'm gonna make it transparent in this way, just to put some shadow in there. And if you want to add more shadow, so I'll go to shade, and you can actually go to your artistic media and then just make it blue. So you just experiment, and then you can discover your style of drawing. Once you're happy with it, there. And I can go to shade. Okay, I'm in shade. Let's say you still want to put some shadow. Go to polyline, and okay, let's say from here. Double click. Make that. I'm just playing around here, and I click on my transparency there, hit F4, see the whole thing. So yeah, actually I like this style too. So just explore the capabilities of the artistic media.